this is Jeff Glass with Alpha Media Group. I'm here with Denise, the queen of junk, Sparks, owner, founder, entrepreneur extraordinaire of Sparks Junk Removal and Hauling in Illinois and also serving parts of Missouri. So we're going to be talking today about entrepreneurship, junk removal, what it's like to be a female in the industry, because I'm sure you can give a lot more expertise on that than I can. And so I want to hear, first of all, Denise, thank you for being on this. You and I have known each other for a while. I don't know who adopted who, but you became part of the Alpha family very quickly. And
it was easy.
Yeah, we're excited. So I love my conversations with you. I feel like every conversation is to be continued. So let's cover some stuff that we can today for our audience, giving a little bit of a background of how did you get started in the junk removal industry? Where did you come from? And give me the sort of the starting point for Sparks Junk Removal.
Well, we're going to go way back 27 years. In 1993, I bought a carpet cleaning franchise, started my business, ran that for about 18 years, and then we evolved quite large into the fire, water, mold restoration business. And then, of course, I follow the industry. And as the industry moved towards the big, the fallout, I should say, of the real estate industry, we became very big with property preservation. And at that point, I looked at, property preservation, you're like the low person on the totem pole. You have 100 inspectors watching every move that you make. If you miss a speck of something in a kitchen or a bathroom, they're always dinging you. So I took a leap of faith and I said, you know what, I can do this. My mother raised 5 strong girls. I'm the youngest of 5. And wow. She said, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You can do this. And I did. I jumped in with both feet. And here we are today, and it's an industry that I absolutely love.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So you're out, give me the locations that you're servicing, like where's your central location, your office, but give me a radius of some areas that you service for your business.
Okay, so I'm located in Alton, Illinois. And as I sit here, if I look across, there's the bridge right over into like North County, Missouri, St. Louis County, Missouri. So I cover my county, which is Madison County, Jersey, which is a little bit north of Alton, Illinois, and I cover St. Clair County, which is east of me. And then I hop over the river and I cover St. Louis County, which consists of a lot of townships, Florissant, Ferguson, Maryland Heights, Baldwin, Missouri, and we go into St. Charles, which is west of where I'm at. So
got it.
I would say we cover about a 50-mile radius.
Okay. And you've been
sometimes
in the industry.
Sometimes we'll go out a little further.
Okay. And how long have you been in just the junk removal industry? You gave the years. So now we're in 2020. So 27 years?
27 years.
Wow. So you're a female in the industry, obviously. And we grew up kind of hearing like James Brown, right? This is a man's world, right? We grew
absolutely.
We grew up hearing these, these sayings and thinking that construction and owning these cleaning type businesses, we can arguably say, it's male predominant. And to give a little bit of an example of my own life is my wife knows how to work on a vehicle. She's gone over to girlfriend's house and she's done flooring. We'll say, maybe we'll just keep it here on this call, but let's say that arguably she is better at carpentry than her husband. Okay. So we'll just put it that way. And so, but she grew up having to teach herself a lot of these things, having to learn how to build. She was a single mom when we got married. So we have our own babies now, and I consider my stepdaughter my daughter. We're all one unit. But she had to learn how to do a lot of her own stuff. If she wanted to change her oil, she didn't go pay someone to do it. She did it herself. So where did it come
Good
from?
for her.
Yes. What brought you into, were you raised to be in the blue collar industry? Was that something you just chose? But what was your initial influence to go that direction?
You know, I always, and my high school friends will tell me this, I don't remember it, but my high school friends said all through high school, I always said I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So when I got out of high school, I worked for a wholesale plumbing supply company for 12 and a half years. And the reason I left there, it was predominantly male, all male sales force. All the men on the sales team went to bat for me and begged the president and vice president to put me out in the field to sell, and they just wouldn't do it. So I was introduced to this carpet cleaning franchise. Like I said, I jumped in with both feet, and it's something that I've always wanted to do. It was a dream I had to own my own business, and that's what I did. And when you look at the fact of, I went from being in a 12 by 12 bedroom office to very quickly in 1999 moving into a big office facility, and then 4 buildings next to me became available. I took those because that's when we were so big in restoration. So there you have it right there. That's construction. I had to go out into the community with all of, like, Allstate, State Farm. I had to prove myself as a woman, and it comes natural for me. I love this industry.
You have a gift for mentorship and for teaching, and we have quite a few people in our network. And I would say, even though we don't have titles and things like that, I would say you're definitely on the leadership team or side of that group, because a lot of them, it's leadership is not based on a badge we put on our shirt. It's based on, are people following, and are they growing from following you, right? And from
Correct.
our side as leaders is, are we serving? Are we serving the vision? Are we helping them out? So one thing that really I love about working with you is seeing that you have that mentorship, and we could bring something. You bring something, you bring that history, you bring a different perspective. And I grew up with a lot of siblings. I went to school to become a behavioral therapist. I mainly work with young men and boys because I was a young man, and I'm still, and that was, I could relate to that group. As our groups have grown, we've seen more and more female entrepreneurs come into this business, into junk removal. They're going into carpet cleaning, they're going into landscaping. And thank God we have someone like you, because sometimes there's such a learning curve already being a female in a male predominant industry. If there's a way to tighten up on that time and that learning curve process, I think you really serve a great post, a great position for that, because
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's one more variable that someone doesn't necessarily have to walk through on their own. I'm going to guess, because you're a business owner and entrepreneur, we've had home runs, but we've had strikeouts too.
Absolutely.
We've had challenges in being business owners. So what are some challenges? Let's just be real and raw here. What are some challenges that ladies go through, and where are areas that you found that you've been able to help, like some real examples? Could you give me a few?
I think that some real challenges we as women still go through, unfortunately, the male dominated role when you're getting into not just junk removal, but we do a lot of demolition now. It's a factor that you have to prove yourself. Again, it's not as bad as it used to be, 20 some years ago. Like for me, it was really tough. But I see a lot of women that are coming forward. They have the strength and tenacity and the gusto, man, that I have. And if you want to make it in this business, you have to be able to, just like my mom said, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do anything. You have to have that determination, And the women that I see coming forward and that reach out to me and talk to me, they have that. I mean, you can't be weak at heart to go into this business. You have to be mentally tough and you have to be physically tough.
Got it. What do you find are some challenges right out the gate? So take me through a scenario. Jane Doe, we don't have to get into specific names, but Jane Doe, she's getting started in the industry. Have you found a common denominator challenge that she goes through getting her business started?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that I personally hear about all the time is, how do I get my phone to ring?
Okay.
How do I get my face out there? And I tell these people, you know, it was hard for me, but and I have to say this, I'm being honest. If it wasn't for Alpha Media Group, you know, I wouldn't be in a great position that I am right now. But I did a total rebrand, you know, my logo, my website, SEO, and you guys took me to the next level. So these people that contact me, and it's women, but it's also men too. I tell them that how bad do you want to be in this industry? You know, are you dreaming about it 24 hours a day? Can you taste it? You have to have that desire. But in order to be successful, you have to market yourself. And if you don't market yourself, you're going to be lost with the little fish in the big pond.
I agree. I quote who I call the great pastor John Wayne, that says, it's courage is not the absence of fear, but it's saddling up while we're scared tishless. It's walking through the fear. And that's where I see a lot of entrepreneurs. And I think that's for men and women, right? It is just for ladies.
It's not just for ladies.
And it's not necessarily just for the newbie. It could be somebody who's been in the business for a while, is learning to walk through those fears. And what I do, my goal is to put a lot of arrows in someone's quiver to help give them the tools, but they have to learn how to use those tools themselves. And I tell people out the gate, I say, look, there's going to be homework. As you know, I give homework, and that's not attractive for everybody. Some people expect, well, I'm going to go drop off my marketing over here and they're just going to take care of it. It doesn't work that way, at least the best form in this industry. We have to co-labor together. We are raising this child, this business together, but it's your kid, it's your business, it's your brand. And what I've seen is when people really step out into that brand and understand that Denise Sparks is a brand, Jeff Glass is a brand. And I'm not saying Jeff Glass a person, who cares? But that name carries a brand, and your name carries a brand. So what does that mean to you to be a brand out there in your industry? A lot of people don't know what that means when I say, look, you have to work on your brand. You are your brand. You and I have walked through a lot of conversations. Can you unpack from your perspective what that means?
Branding for me, of course, I'm known in the community because I've been around for so long. But branding for somebody new is, you have to put your face out there. You have to put your spirit, your heart, your work. You have to show these people exactly who you are, what you stand for. You're respected, you're reliable, your professionalism. All those things go into the same jar. And you have to be willing to put your feet to the fire and prove yourself to people. But if you don't have that brand, I'm speaking from my heart. If you don't have that brand, you're just going to fall by the wayside. There's too much competition out there right now with our economy, in the tanker with COVID and that, and I know everybody with the pickup trucks going out and hauling and trying to make a living. So my brand, I know that I stand out among other people.
Gotcha. What do you think is the difference between a business brand and a personal brand? And should there be a difference? Or, when you're out to dinner, with your family and you're hanging out on the weekends, is it you stop being the queen of junk? Are you just Denise?
Oh
Tell
no, no. I mean, every single night I lay my head down. I am constantly marketing, whether it be Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter. I am marketing. Uh, on weekends, Queen of Junk doesn't stop. If I don't continue to market, they're going to, they might forget about me. I don't want to be forgotten about. I'm the Queen of Junk. I'm old, I've been around a long time and I want people to remember me.
right,
So, absolutely no, it never stops. Like I said, you have to, every day that you wake up, want to learn something new, or you might as well go back to sleep. Educate yourself.
right,
I try and learn something new every single day in this business or in life.
right, right.
And you have to have a passion for that, and you know that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's a big thing. I'm glad you're echoing that, because one thing I hated about having a job, and I don't use the term hate lightly. I'm thankful that I've had jobs along the way. I look at them as kind of the fire starters for my next entrepreneurial project while I've been, I'm 42 now and I've been self-employed off and on since I was 16, 17 years old. But your brand is who you are all the time. If I'm this, if I'm, I've told my students, because I've taught in juvenile probation, I said, if you're seeing Jeff one way in front of you as a teacher, and then I'm this way on the weekend, I'm getting belligerent at the bar on the weekend, is it going to change your perception of me? And they go, well, yeah. And then I joke with them, I'm all, well, you all are some judgmental folks, but that's natural for us. We make assessments because our mind, okay, if they've edified me in some way as a mentor or teacher in their life, I need to keep that brand consistent, you know?
Exactly. No matter where you are, especially in your community.
Yes, yes. I'm not a Jay-Z fan, but I tell you, I love his quote. He says, I'm not a businessman. He goes, I'm a business man. I am the business. I am the product. I am the brand. We look at different actors and actresses in movies. They understand this. Kevin Hart went to work on his brand, not just his comedy, but what are people purchasing? What is grabbing them? What is bringing them in? So on that, what makes the queen of junk the queen of junk? Just define that. Define. I
I
know
don't
the
know if I
queen.
can. I, you know, I love everybody. I love life. I love my job. I love my business. Man,
Right.
if I didn't, that's who I am. I take heart. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I love people, and I love when people that are either they're going from, let's say, landscaping into junk removal, or whatever industry that you're adding junk removal to. I love that these people reach out to me.
I love it.
I want to be able to educate them. I want to be around for a while. The queen's here to stay, hopefully for quite a while.
One thing I've seen, and I got to give a little story to our audience here. So I grew up in Silicon Valley. I've grown up around people that gone and worked for Google, Pandora. They've gone and worked for some of these big tech companies. I was in the Bay Area basically from 92 to 96 and went off to college. But that was my peer group, is growing up around Silicon Valley, which is a lot of the reason I'm into digital marketing. But I got into maintenance for a while and learned how to bring the two together. And like you, I love to share information, and I love to see all ships rise and people succeed. And then I talk about this a lot because you and Doug pulled me aside, and Doug's like, "Hey, man," he goes, "How about a victory just for Alpha Media Group, and we take care of the family here?" And I said, and then you're like, "Hey, let's keep it here," and just but the heart behind both of what, and I joke, but the heart behind both what you were saying was, let's take care of the family. Let's put on our own oxygen mask. Let's get all the ships to rise here. So we've morphed into, at one point, just being a marketing company. You want to do ads, you want to do this, to now we work a lot mostly with blue collar, with branding and marketing. But recently, Alpha Media Group, thanks to people like you and Doug and several others, is we've evolved into an educational network. And we don't share everything that we do, but it's okay to share that we exist. We're out here, this is what we're doing. But what value do you feel that I see it from both sides. So what value do you feel that you bring? Because I know a lot of other people talk about it, so I can tell you if you can't answer that one. But what value do you think that the group overall brings to each other? I guess would be the better question, now that we've learned to have our own network.
Oh, I see many things. You have so many years put together of experience, of education, of skill. Ideas is so important. Our
Right.
group comes up with some really brilliant ideas, and we have a great mentoring group. And I think just our core group alone can teach so many others out there how to have a very successful business.
Very good. Very good. So who are some people that have stood out to you in the industry that you really feel are setting a good standard? I think it's important to understand that this industry, one, like we've talked about, it's not just a male industry. And I think that's a big misconception that a lot of people have. It's only male. And we know that it's not. And we see a lot of dynamic women coming into the junk removal industry. But one thing I've seen is a raising of the bar in the industry, that there are people out there, they got the junk removal shirt on, but they stand for something else. They don't stand for raising this type of industry, this niche, to a higher standard. So what are some examples or people that you've seen, one or the other, either one that you have, of how the standard is being raised in the junk removal industry right now in 2020? I personally see a huge positive spike because of people like you. So what are you seeing? Why the change? Why is it necessary?
Well, are we speaking in relevance to our group? Because I can name so many people that I just see that are going to offer tremendous things. You've got, and I'm going to name them, and I think everybody that we deal with, you've got She Does Hauling, you've got Stephanie, you have Jay Silva, which, Trash Your Junk. I've seen him do a total like 360. He's come a very long way in a short time. Travis, we've got some amazing people. You've got Joshua, you've got Bubba. The sky is the limit with the people that we have within our team. And I feel like, I don't want to leave anybody out because I got a big heart. So I love them all, man. I love them all. So don't one of you call me and say, why didn't you mention my name? Because you're all kings and queens to me.
Well, and that's why I love the king and queen philosophy. I love the brand. You got the queen, which means royalty, and purple is royalty. It also means a standard, right? And I think that there's such a call for a different standard. I think there's big misconceptions in the junk removal industry. I take it a step back to just blue collar. And I grew up in the college counselor's room. There was a poster that said, work smarter, don't work harder. And there's a picture of this plumber, and he looks all like kind of dirty and depressed and like he's on the brink of just poverty, and you have this guy with his tech, hey, he's all proud and looking all clean. And talk about, one, a brilliant piece of marketing, two, a total punch in the neck of blue collar. So it really is this two-pronged thing. And honestly, I've met more wealthy plumbers than I have, attorneys and doctors. And I've worked with both. And but I really believe that people can make a great living. I love what Joshua Sperling says: dirty hands, clean money. Man, that one stuck with me. I love that, because people are out there getting work done. And there's no dispute in my mind how essential people like you are in the industry. I've been out there, I've owned blue collar companies. I'm on the tech side now. I'm not the guy holding up my degree. I'm the guy celebrating the junk removers and the blue collar, saying, right on, keep going. I'm not an authority, I'm a servant. That's what I want to be. That's what I strive to be, is I'm here to serve and make sure you all are successful. You guys and gals are the authorities in your industry. My job is to come in and make sure you have the tools that you need. So what kind of living can someone make and the audience that we're speaking here, Denise, is basically maybe the person that was lied to, that thought if they didn't have a good education, they can't make money or be wealthy or make a living for themselves, or the person that got out of college and thought, what was that for? And I'm not going to name names, right? But yeah, so but kind of, hey, that a piece of paper does not make you successful.
Bingo. I was just going to take the words right out of your mouth. It does not, because I started college as well. And that's when I was introduced, into going into business for myself. And I'm sorry, but if you want to be an entrepreneur and you study and you educate and you read and you listen to people, you're a great mentor for all of us. You're like the king at the top, and we're all here. So, and I say that with great respect.
Thank you.
Because you mentor a lot of us, as well as I'm sure that we give you ideas, on the spectrum too. But saying that you have to go to college to be in this business is absolutely false. You can make as little money as you want, or you can make as much money as you want. It all depends on you.
Right.
You have to be able to put in the hard work. If you can't put in the hard work, you're not going to make any money. It's as simple as that.
The old phrase, if it's to be, it's up to me, right?
Absolutely.
If it's to be, it's up to me. And that philosophy of mine has evolved because, given the climate that we live in 2020, I'm an entrepreneur. I look at opportunity. We're in an age of innovation. And the solo soldier is going to have a hard time. I have been referring to us lately as the Alpha Army, because together we can go strong, we can conquer things together. And really, I feel a responsibility within these groups. What do you feel, and is that too strong of a word? Do you feel that we have a responsibility as entrepreneurs, as business owners in this industry, to set the right example, maybe tell people about bad examples, and help guide them? Do you feel a responsibility for that?
Absolutely. Oh yeah, absolutely. Because I consider myself a responsible business owner. I do things, as my friends always say, you're like the captain of the ship. You want to do everything by the book. Well, that's the way I do my business. I don't do things shady on the sly. I think that, yeah, we owe it to people. If we see something in a group, or we experience something in our own life outside of the group, I feel that we have a responsibility to share that information. If I see a video that someone might be bullying another business owner or making another female like a sexist issue.
Mhm.
I feel it's my responsibility and my duty to bring that forward.
Mhm. I agree. I feel like on the other side, it's almost like, lack of a better term, you're kind of, for me, I'm like, I'd be a jackwagon if hey, you knew that I was going to trip and fall this direction. You didn't tell me. Right.
Right,
And
right.
especially some folks that get into this. And again, Denise, we've been at this entrepreneur thing for a while. Collectively, you and I got 25 years. You got 27 plus when you were carpet cleaning. So we got 50 years of mistakes and
We're old as
challenges.
dirt.
we, we, you know, and you reach a certain age, and I, like you, I love what I do. Money to me is fuel in the gas tank, right? And I don't invite my friends over and say, hey, look at this octane inside my vehicle. It doesn't have that type of value to me. I don't like seeing people necessarily, you know, that they are pretending, they're saying how to make $1 million in junk removal, and they're flashing their Benjamins, and they haven't really made 100,000. And to
Right.
me, that's setting a horrible example. It's teaching people sometimes the wrong things, because I believe money should be the fruit of what you do, not necessarily the root of what you do. The root should be the values that you put out there. If you build it with hard work, it will come over time. You have to do the right thing. So I'm not shy about my value system and what I believe. I don't know if you ever found me this way, but I don't feel that I'm offensive to people. I'm not out to
No.
hurt people, but I'm not shy about my belief in God. I'm not shy about my political views. And I've had people from the other side of the aisle, if you will, thank me, and they felt encouraged to be able to share their side. And that's what I want. That's my heart, is that I feel that I'm a voice piece for other people. But it's not about just putting my views out there. But I believe that, you know, a lot of people stay in the neutral, and they're not taking pride in who they are. And, you know, we were raised, you know, don't talk about religion and don't talk about politics. And I'm just going to be straight up. I think that's some of the dumbest advice we ever received. It's saying, don't talk about things that you value. And now we put a muzzle over our mouth, and now some of us can't even hold a conversation about those things. And I'm not saying that has to come into every conversation, but for me, I don't know a difference between my personal brand and my business brand. I hope every day that's the same person. I hope who I am around my family and my kids and my valued clients like you, I hope that I'm caught being the same person all the time.
That's what
So,
I strive to be every day.
right. So I think when we're putting ourselves out there in these groups, we're representing our brand. And when we put ourselves out there and we're talking about something that doesn't make sense, or people do some homework and find out, well, wait a second, you know, if you're out there and you're being deceiving, not you, but I'm saying someone's out there doing that, you're certainly not. Your brand backwards and forwards matches up with what you're showing. And that's the example that people need to glean from. But what we're seeing in this industry, like kind of what we talk about in like in Christianity, you'll see what they call false prophets. There's people within these groups and within the industry claiming something, and they could take people the wrong path. And I've been raised, you know, don't set to put people out of business. Just put the, you know, Jim Rohn said, just raise the bar so high so they have to reach. So what I love about our group is that we're setting that bar, saying, okay, I don't need to come out here and slam you. I'm just going to say, look, this is where we're going. This is what we're stand for. And we want everybody to have the opportunity. I love what Matthew Moses says, who's in our group. Isn't he great? He helps out people. He
He's
doesn't ask for
awesome.
he doesn't ask for anything. If someone needs help with their Google My Business, he just volunteers his time. He's great. I get text messages about how helpful he was. But he goes, Jeff, he goes, if I would have had a group like this, it would have saved me 2 to 5 years for my
I
business.
believe that.
And I said, Matt, I said, man, I want to hire you. I want you to come work for Alpha Media Group, because he's very tech savvy. And I said, how'd you learn? He goes, because I had to. He goes, but I didn't want to. He goes, I would have rather had someone do it for me or had a group like this. So people that aren't in this group, what would someone expect by being within our network? What do you feel that the brand new person coming in, what would be some examples of what they could receive?
A great website, great mentoring, a great logo,
One of my favorites. I love it.
great rack cards. Okay.
Awesome.
Dependability. You pick up the phone, you need something, you send an email, Alpha Media Group is there for you. There are so many other companies, and I say this from example. Many years ago, I hired a local company. I couldn't get the guy to answer the phone calls, answer my emails. It was just a constant chasing my tail. I knew from day one, when I connected with you, when I read all of your information, I knew that Alpha Media Group was 150% the company that I wanted to do my rebranding with and do all of my digital marketing. And it was the best investment, I ever made.
Awesome. Thank you. We talk about, we'll get calls on our phones, right? I still get them, and I'm rank number one, and it's some foreign number, and who is it, and this and that. And nothing towards people that are foreign, but we want to be able to relate to someone who's calling us. That's what it comes down to. I talk a lot about rank everywhere. Don't just rank on one thing, because I feel in this industry, people will kick up their feet and say, okay, well, if you just do this or you just do that, that is such a dangerous method in my mind. So when I go and look for Sparks, I see her on YouTube. I see her on a website. I see her on Facebook. I see her on LinkedIn. Why? Why is it so important to rank everywhere in your industry? You're out in the trucks. You're out there. Do you want to say hi? Do you want to say hi to Denise?
Let me say hi.
Okay, hold on a second. Come over here. Oh, she ran.
Oh.
All right, so go ahead and edit that part out, Nick. But go ahead. Go ahead, Denise.
It's so important for you to rank everywhere. You have to stay on top of everybody, because they're coming in right behind you every 5 seconds, all day long, 7 days a week. You have to stay at the top of your game. If you're, it goes back to the very beginning when we started this conversation. If you don't stay at the top of your game and you're out front, you might as well just go back home.
Right. And you're out there with your crew. Go ahead.
You guys have put me there. Alpha Media Group, I do the videos. You give me homework, I do what Jeff says. Yes, sir.
Awesome.
I do the homework, I do the videos, and you guys on the back end are making all of us rank number one in our cities and our townships, so that when somebody, over in St. Louis or whatever county over here in Illinois, if they type in junk removal, bingo, I'm popping up. And
awesome.
I hear that all day long. When people call me, I say, how'd you find out about us? Well, I went to, Google, or I saw a video, or I saw your information on Facebook. So being out on social media, in every platform that you can be, you have to be, in order to stay in front of your competition.
If I'm a customer of yours, and what sort of experience am I going to get by hiring Sparks Junk Removal to come to my home or my place of business? I'm excited, but I'm nervous. Maybe I haven't met your business yet. What should I expect upon arrival?
Well, it's funny that you asked that, because right before this podcast, I just met with a brand new investor that we did a clean out for. And she said the most important thing that she liked about Sparks Junk Removal was the fact that, one, communication is very, very important to me. I communicate. I tell them when their ETA is. I tell them if they get stuck by a bus or a train. I'm always communicating. I let them know what time we're going to be there. I let them know when we're leaving. Communication is key for me. But you're going to see my guys show up and they're going to be professionally dressed, even if they do get dirty. They are very respectful to my clients. You're going to see us pull up, in a clean vehicle and, a big dump trailer now. So we have our brand on us. We have, for new customers, I call this my calling card. Instead of the small little business cards from way back when, I give them a calling card. And I let them know everything I can prior to us arriving, what to expect from us.
I've read some of your reviews, just like you checked on me. I checked on you when we're getting started because I don't necessarily, my clients represent my brand. And as we've grown older as a business, we become more and more selective of who we want. I know that sounds strange or might sound like reverse psychology, but we have a different vetting process now. And I even have you and Josh and Matt and Bubba even talk to some of the clients before I'll even have a conversation with them, because I want to know that if they will fit within the Alpha Media Group family. I've read some of your reviews, and the way that people describe you is like family. Why are they describing you that way? What's going on? What are they picking up from you besides the communication? Because that's a pretty strong review, and that's pretty consistent with review. They're not necessarily coming out every time and saying that, but when they're describing you, it's like they're describing their favorite family member. Why do you think that is?
Because I treat my customers like I would treat my family. I don't set my bar above anybody else. And I've told you this in our private conversations. I'm just the regular queen on the block. I'm just Denise. I don't think there's anything special about me except for the fact that I was raised old-fashioned, that you respect people, you respect your elders, you go out of your way to give them that extra courtesy. I believe in customer satisfaction. And those reviews are so important to me because it is a reflection of not just who I am, but of who Sparks Junk Removal is. So that when my guys show up, because knock on wood, I've been able to get off the truck a whole lot more. So when they show up, they know, and they're going to expect that same professionalism that I have given them. And my guys, they get tipped. They get, actually, I just got a text before this podcast. Your crew was great. They were so efficient and so nice. And I hear that a lot. And to me, I take care of my guys. They're like family to me. They're just not somebody that goes out and gets their hands dirty every day. And I believe that as a business owner, and that's a whole nother conversation, but you have to treat them well. If you don't treat them well and respect them, you're not going to have them for very long. And believe me, in 27 years, when I started my business, I said, oh, look, I can count how many employees I've had on one hand. Well, I don't have enough hands and toes. So I take care of those that take care of me.
Do you believe the customer is always right? Or what is right is always right? Yeah.
I live by the old standard motto, yeah. I have to say that's how I was taught. The customer is always right. Does that mean they're always right? There's kind of a little twist in that definition there. Sometimes a customer, you'll give them a quote and you get there, of course, and it's nothing like a text, a picture they sent you, whatever. But I don't care. You know, if it means throwing an extra box of something in there or a TV, I'm going to do that for them because
Sure.
I know that they're going to tell 2 of their family members or 5 of their neighbors. So to me, yeah, the customer's always right.
Good. Who is the right customer for Sparks junk removal? Is it residential, commercial? Describe to me, you know the term that I use, but your client avatar, right? To those who don't know what that means, basically the depiction of your ideal client. Describe him and her to me, if you could.
I would say right now, but I want to move forward more into property management. My ideal customer right now is, of course, we have residential, but we have grown so much. I have networked so hard and marketed so hard. I have picked up a lot of investors. Okay. In the St. Louis market right now, you can get these houses for little to nothing. And it seems like at least every 2 weeks, I'm picking up a new investor. What does that do for us? It broadens our horizon quite a bit for the mere fact we're not just only going in there now and cleaning out their junk. Now they know that we offer demo. So we're doing a ton of interior demolition, tearing out kitchens, tearing out their flooring, going and tearing their shed down or their play set in the backyard, getting their property ready for the next contractor to come in and be able to either get it rented for them or flip it. But my long-term goal is property management. I would love to, pick up a few apartment complexes. But I'm happy, I'm happy where I am. But each day I continue to, I still have that rainbow down the road. And if I don't have something to strive for each day and look forward to, I tell the guys that work for me, you always have to look for something new to learn every day. And if you can't, it's boring. And I want their job to be fun too. I want them to be excited to come to work every day. But all my customers, that's a tough one for me because I've been in the business so long that, it's like saying, do you like the rich more than you do the poor? No, I love everybody. I appreciate any business that they send me.
From talking with you, and you're such an evangelist for branding, and like many of our clients are, and I am, and that's a big one. Another big one I hear is, even though we're in 2 different types of business now, is that we're all in the problem solving business. Would you agree? We're in the business of solving problems
every day.
And so I was talking to Kellen Becker, owner of Rainier Junk Removal up in Washington, and we were talking about that. And I was describing to him, I think that's one thing, and you've been in this for a long time. Would you agree that's something you can never fully delegate? You still have to be good at solving problems, regardless if you're on the truck, off the truck. And I'm not talking undergraduate level. I'm talking over time. We need to be like master degree level when it comes to problem solving as entrepreneurs. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. And the old motto I always say, nobody knows your business and nobody can run your business, cares about your business as much as you do, because every day I'm problem solving. I mean, I can give the same scenarios, or we do the same scenarios just about every day, but you still always have an issue. And sometimes you feel like, is there a light at the end of the tunnel? Like, how many times do we have to put it out there, do the same thing, that you would do at anybody else's house, whether it's from
Right.
photos or this or that. And you know what I'm talking about. But yeah,
Yes.
I mean, we're solving problems every single day. If it's not just with our employees, it could be with a customer or a problem in our own life.
Right.
So
I've had the privilege of being on calls with some pretty good sized tech companies, and I've been able to come on and consult and offer some of my expertise. What we do as a company and for Alpha Media Group, really the full recipe is only for our clients, as you know. But I'll give glimpses a little bit about what we're doing. And I came on to give like podcasts like this style. And I told this gentleman who runs a very lucrative agency, I said, I want clients to hire me because it's a time decision, not because Jeff has a secret sauce or magic recipe. I want it to be a time management decision. I want that to be, it can be several reasons, but I want the number one reason that clients hire us because it makes sense for them. We could manage this part of raising the business, raising the child, and they're freed up to go and do the things that they need to do. So when I've brought some clients on, I give them a lot of, hey, this is what we can do. But the problem I want to solve is time. There's other things, and we've discussed those on private calls and different calls with in our groups. Time is number one for me. What is number one for you?
I would have to say time and include delegating. I mean, I look at all the time over 27 years that I've been out getting my hands dirty, breaking my back, that I could have spent marketing and branding myself. So I would have to agree. Time is a big factor. I'd like to have all those hours and minutes back.
Right. And for your clients, do they hire you? You know, I was talking about this on another call. Is some clients will get that concept in their mind, like, okay, well, I can just do it myself, my junk removal. I can hire my uncle and I'll get a trailer and a truck and I'll go rent a truck. And I've heard numerous examples. I've even seen 5-star reviews for people within our group that the clients will say, well, I made the mistake of trying to do it myself, but then I hired so-and-so and wow, I actually saved time, but I saved money too. Because sometimes we just think we're like, well, if I just do it myself, then I'll save money. If I just do it myself, it'll be easier. And me on the outside looking in on the industry at this point, I've seen that has not been the case. So when someone's trying to make that decision of doing the work themselves or hiring Sparks junk removal and hauling, give me that scenario and give me an example, perhaps, how that's worked out well for someone when they've made the decision to go with you, which was the wise decision, instead of doing it themselves.
I would have to say the biggest issue that I encounter are people that have an estate, somebody that has passed away, left with a whole house full of items. I will come in. I like to be the organizer. I like to come in and I will walk through and spend some time, sometimes an hour or two with them, and tell them how this needs to be done, because people, they think they can do it themselves. And I've had a lot of clients say, oh my gosh, I wish that we would have just had you come in from the very beginning, because time, all the time that they spent running in circles and not knowing what to do, or getting a dumpster there. And it's not just the small jobs, but it's the bigger ones where they just get overwhelmed. And by the time that I go out there and spend with them and tell them how it needs to be done, we get the job. You know what I'm saying?
Wonderful.
So
wonderful. As we sort of wrap up here, I could talk to you for days, Denise. I really enjoy our conversations. I would love for you to give a message to your clients that are watching this, people that have been your customer for a long time. You've built a lot of relationships over 27 years. you've made a lot of friendships, or knowing you've adopted people. So you probably have, 17 people in your family now, at least, that you've adopted, so to speak. But give them a message now, if you could, like, let us know, like, what you'd want to say to them over this last 27 years, because they've really been the cornerstone, a lot of you building your business, staying in business, being able to supply jobs. Do you have a message for those folks?
Absolutely. Thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart and the depths of my soul, because without my customers, I wouldn't have the life that I have today. I wouldn't be 61 years old. Well, let's turn that around and make it 16. I have a great respect for every single client that calls me on the phone. I treat every single customer like they are my family, like they are my only customer. And there are not enough words over 27 years or enough thank yous to send in the mail to appreciate the value that they have brought to my business.
Wonderful. So how can new customers, existing customers, where can we find you? How can we get in touch with you? How can we be graced with the presence of the Queen of Junk?
You can reach me on the World Wide Web at www.sparksjunkremoval.net. You can find me on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, because your junk is our business.
Well, thank you, Denise. Always a pleasure. Until next time, thank you so much. We'll talk soon.
Thank you. Have a great day.